Hello, I'm here. Hello. A couple minutes late, had some technical difficulties. Never happens to anyone, like when you sign on to Zoom and Zoom has an update. That kind of thing happened to me today. So let me turn on the chat to see who's here. Please leave me a comment to let me know that the chat is working. And let me post something here. Okay, let me bring that back in. This one. Okay, so good afternoon. Happy Tuesday. I am tickled to be here, and I have been sewing up a storm. Let's see who's here. We have hello, Annette from Kissimmee, Florida. I and let's see, Janet is in the Carolinas. I never remember which one, but hopefully that's close enough. I work with a lot of young moms, and I try to use examples for them. And I was talking about something that's spread, and these are young. And please, I need you as a sanity check right now. I told them about a Breck hair shampoo commercial and she told two friends, and she told two friends, and so on and so on and so on. Please tell me you remember that commercial and it's not a figment of my imagination, because I was just talking about something growing exponentially, and then these youngsters just looked at me like, because they weren't alive in the 70s and they weren't alive in the 80s either. So just not a lot. So let me know if you remember that. Let's see who I have here. I have hello Sandal, and Mary is in Sullivan, Ohio. I'm not sure where that is. I kind of know Ohio State and the 270 loop and major cities. That's all I got. Let's see. Who do we have here? Annette remembers. Yes. Okay. And Jeanette remembers. And Mary, hello. I know where you are now. You're up near Cleveland. I think you drove in a little bit. So hello, it's good to see you. Again, I have a lot going on. I have been sewing up a storm. Sadly, it has not been as much machine quilting as I would have liked, because the quilt I'm machine quilting right now is sitting in the corner in timeout. That's never happened to anyone, I'm sure, but it needs to repent of its errors, and I need to get brave and go at it with a seam ripper because the tension was terrible. Got to take the whole thing out and start over. But I did dig into some scraps, so I've been sewing a lot. Krista, hello in Minneapolis. Good to see you. I live near West Point in New York, West Point, the military academy, and some cadets go to our church. And I was talking to a cadet who said she was from Minnesota, but she lives further up. And I was just trying to say where I've been. And I'm like, I think the furthest north I've been in the cities. And I'm like, nope, I've been to St. Cloud and I've been to Brainerd. And so I'm working my way up, but she's still further north. So I get a geography test whenever we meet the cadets. I was like, where are you from? And how close have I been? Which is cute. And Molly, hi. It is so cute to see the cadets all in their uniforms their first year. And in their second years, they get to dress like people. And they kind of are really excited about having a little individuality after that. But yeah, it's really cool getting to be their home away from home. So what is new? Let's see. I have a list. So I fell this week right into my 1.5-inch scrap bucket. I didn't really fall. I dove into my 1.5-inch strip bucket, and I made enough blocks for 2 quilts. So I took out all my neutrals to make these for a Picnic Patch Cutie quilt. And then I made these for a Sweet Tooth, I think this is called, cutie quilt. And both of these are ribbon candy. Again, because I have a quilt that's in timeout. and it's not being nice to me. So I am making quilts that are going to be ribbon candy. So they will be nice to me because it's ribbon candy and it'll be my happy place. So that's what I'm doing. In my box, I have, let's see if I can pick it up here. It's right next to me on the floor. This is my box of 1.5 inch strips. So I pulled all of the strips for both of those quilts out of here. A lot of my floor in this corner of my room is still covered with these strips because I pull them out and they fall. I've also pulled out enough strips for 3 more quilts. We have Sandal, who's working on a phone that is not liking her typing right now. So yes, Sweet Tooth and Ribbon Candy, yay! I recognize when phones aren't working. So I have enough pulled out for 3 more quilts, maybe 4, already pulled out, and that box is still full. How does that happen? Did you see that box? It was full, and I've taken 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least 5 quilts out of there, possibly 6, and the box is still full. And they were all in there to start with. What? How does this happen? Where do these scraps come from? I think that they, I think they're rabbits. And when you turn off the lights at night, they multiply. Because I've heard rabbits multiply pretty quickly. So yeah, I've been doing that because I want to quilt ribbon candy because I have a quilt in timeout. So let's see, I talked about scraps. Oh, let's talk about the quilt behind me. This is I Scream. It is this month's color block quilt. See, Angie says I fluffed them up. It's still full. They were packed in there pretty solid. So yeah. And now I'm like, I just want to sit and do nothing but sew all of these now because it's just all straight piecing. And I have a series of books on my phone right now that's about 90 hours. So I could live 90 hours. I won't even finish the book by the time I'm done with these scraps, I think. Would be interesting to try. But yeah, I have a 90-hour series on my phone right now. Let's see, how far am I into it? I think I'm only like 14 hours into it. 11. I'm 11 hours into it. Let's see. Hey, y'all in New Orleans. Good to see you, Lois Ann. So yeah, that's my scrap. I've tripped and fallen or dove head first into my scraps. I am trying to clean my sewing room, so it's really important that I focus on the smallest pieces of fabric I have because that's making such a difference in my sewing room. The only thing that's making a difference in my sewing room, actually, is using up scrap battings that are laying around because I'm piecing battings together. This quilt, the I Scream behind me, which is June's color block quilt, I did use scrap batting for, and this is a cotton. So I'm trying to go down to only having 2 battings in the house. So I just got rid of one type of batting, which was a really cheap polyester that I had from when I was teaching and making kits, just, throw away type, here, we're going to practice this and then donate it to the shelter. So that's now gone. And now I'm trying to piece in the other stacks that are around here. And that will hopefully get me some floor space. I don't know. So I did quilt this quilt and bound it. It is up and the video is edited up on the Cutie Quilt class. I'm sorry, color block class. Did I have to pick the same letter? Apparently I did. So the color block quilts, if you go to DebbieBrownQuilts.com, click the online classes button and go to Color Blocks 2024. Every quilt this year is a seasonal quilt. This one will be later on today, hopefully, hanging on my kitchen door. I have a hook over my kitchen door that I can put a wreath or whatever on, and I just need to get a little dowel rod to put on this quilt to hook it up and over the hook. But I think this will live up there for a while. I did mention I was going to put a red button on there for a cherry, but my button was really small and it was a really lame cherry. I mean, I have buttons, red buttons from 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch, and this one was maybe 3/4 inch. I need like a 1.5 inch red button to smack right on there, and I don't have it. But I will look for one. But I think I look really sweet in the kitchen. The quilting was super duper fun. Let me show you how I quilted it. Talk amongst yourselves. I'm pulling up a photo. Okay, let me come back to you and share it with you. Share screen to this window here. Okay, I hope you can see that. What I did was switchbacks, and I used a larger foot for my machine. It's the Clearview foot. Um, and and I stagger them to make it look like drips of ice cream melting down it. I had a couple ideas for this quilt, but I went for the drips. Let's see if we can get in closer. Can you see those? Hopefully that made it larger for you. Just looks like dripping, melting ice cream. So you'll have a video on how to make those all free motion. It's a great design for this quilt, and I think it would be a great design for a lot of patchwork quilts. Your charity quilts, your edge to edge designs. It's a really reasonably easy and quick one to get done on your home machine. So let's see where we are. Oh, my word, Lois Ann, a red cherry yo-yo. I don't have to buy a button. I might have some red fabric I can see right there in my scrap bin, and I will go make a cherry yo-yo. Fabulous, because the quilt is already done and bound and ready to go, and I'll just pop a cherry yo-yo on top. I love that. Let's see, Annette, it's a neat design. It is. I've done it before, and I'll probably do it again in color blocks, squaring it off. It looks really cool squared off too, the same technique. This is switchbacks, but you can go up and do them straight, all straight lines instead of the curves if you'd like. It's a really fun design, especially when you have a larger foot for your machine. What I didn't say in the class, I have a Clearview foot on my machine, and on my new machine as well, and you'll see the video of it. You might not have that on your brand of machine, but everybody can. If you have a Bernina, buy the ruler foot and then buy the echo discs that go around it, and you can make a larger foot for echoing. If you don't have a Bernina, you can buy a Westerly foot from So Steady. So find a retailer for that. And they will let you know the right one for your machine. And then you can buy echo discs that go over that ruler foot as well. So you can get different sizes. I'm going to need to get that for my machine. I know I'm going to be teaching at Bits and Pieces in July, and I know they sell it. So I'll probably pick one up when I go there in July. Because I always like to do retailers instead of random online big box thing, because we got to support our stores, because they're the ones that let us buy thread on Sundays, and we can get it on the same day and we can look at it with our quilt and not have to wait for shipping and pay shipping and all of that. We love our in-person stores. The only place I'm teaching in June is at Handy Quilter Academy in Utah, and they won't have machine dealers there. But you should definitely sign up. I think there's still room in a couple of the tracks. If it just works out for you at last minute, you get a last minute great flight, you get a last minute great hotel, and you want to come, please do. I am teaching a free motion track, which is Project. People are going to come and make a whole cloth quilt. Sandra Rindelsbaugh and I are teaching that track. We're doing all free motion, which just means we're moving the machine rather than a computer moving the machine. So there's a beginner free motion track, which is you moving the machine. And then there's this more advanced project-based you moving the machine. And then there is a Pro Stitcher, and then there's like Pro Stitcher and Designer. There's hands-on and computer. There's a lot of that going on there. So I'd love to see you out there. It is my favorite quilt show in the United States. There's still a quilt show in Australia that is stellar, and that is the Australasian Quilt Convention in Melbourne. They have tea service throughout the day, and the waiters, the wait staff is all dressed up, and they have massages for delegates, and it's pretty amazing to go to that quilt show. And when they move Melbourne, Australia, off the coast of the United States, I'll go there again. I'm not sure I'm up for that type of 3-day travel ordeal anymore. My body's like, no, probably not. Utah is going to be my first big flight in 4 years, so that's going to be enough for me. That's enough of a challenge. But if you want to fly there, I definitely recommend it. It's my favorite quilt show. You're going to eat too much. You're going to make too many friends. You're going to learn too much, and you're not going to sleep enough. But worth it. Very worth it. I adore it. And the whole time I was at Primitive Gatherings quilt retreat out in Wisconsin, with Lisa Bonjean in December. Everything that was going on there, I'm like, wow, this is as good as Handy Quilter Academy. Wow, this is as good as Handy Quilter Academy. So those are the two things that I can rate in the US. Their retreat is top notch, and Handy Quilter's quilt show and teaching event is top notch. So please consider that. And if not this year, next year, it's something you might want to put on your list. So that is ice cream, and I would love to see what flavors of ice cream you're making in yours. You can tell me what flavors you're making. I did chocolate, strawberry, and vanilla, and I'm having a moment of sadness right now. My ice cream dairy in New York is called Stewart's, and they put 3 flavors on sale every week. And this week it's like butter pecan, coffee, and vanilla. I'm like, so I was ready to go buy some ice cream because I wanted, and I'm not going to because those aren't exciting. What else do I have for you? So, so my quilt is in timeout. I mentioned that. It's in timeout because I have a new sewing machine, and things you should never do, and things I would never do as an experienced machine quilter and an experienced machine quilting teacher. I would never get a new machine and just assume the tension was the same as on the old one. Never once. Because on my old machine, I set my tension to about the middle and then go down. So lighter tension than to the middle. So the tension on my quilt is terrible because the tension on my new machine for machine quilting likes to be at a 7. And I had set it at a 3, and it was, but no, you should never assume that a new machine is going to work exactly the same as an old one. And I would never assume that and put a quilt in timeout until I take it out. Fortunately, when the tension is terrible on your machine, it comes out very easily because you can just pick it out. There's just a thread you pull and everything comes out. I'm just mad at it right now, and it needs to sit there until it ponders the error of its ways. But I do love my new sewing machine, like love it. This was a definitely user problem. I have a Handy Quilter Stitch 610, and it is in a 10-inch throat space, and I adore it. Love this machine. It's going to be, it's pretty awesome. Yesterday at church, I had 3 different people talk to me about their sewing machines because they know I sew a lot, and somebody brought their machine in and thought a piece they were sewing in, and it was a garment. Said, I need a new needle, and I looked at him like, that's tension. That's not a needle. I mean, I can talk to you about needles. So, and she was already aware her machine had a tension problem, so that was managed. Somebody else came in and said, oh, I looked at this machine and I was ready to buy it and get lessons on it and everything, but then I found one for $98 at Walmart, and it's not working very well. Well, those of us who sew a lot probably did not buy a machine for $98 at Walmart because they're $98 at Walmart, and we need tools that work well. And that one may not be a workhorse that's going to last for generations. And she's having that problem with her machine. I think the third person that talked to me wanted to buy a machine, and I was looking up the machine I normally recommend. And machines got expensive, just like, gasoline and milk and eggs and everything else has gotten expensive. So, I used to be able to recommend a machine for people from $500 to $1,000 in that range for people who just wanted a sewing machine, not going to be hardcore like we are, us quilt every day type of people. But this Stitch 610 is a really nice machine. I like it a lot, a lot, a lot. And I think it's in the $2,000 price range, but that's a lot for someone who just wants to have a machine to do some mending and little projects. But anyway, if you're interested in a stitch machine, check out a Handy Quilter retailer. Just, see one near you and they can get you one. Because I'm really digging this machine. Okay, that one's out. I told you I'm trying to clean my studio, and we're at the getting worse before it gets better stage because of that whole scrap quilting adventure. I still have hope. I am putting things on sale every week to try to get stuff out of here. And I do have a destash place. So as I'm finding things I don't want, it might be a pattern that I've already used or am never going to use. And I'm selling these for pennies. There may be some things in there that are free, but you can only get them if you add that onto an order because I'm not going to ship it for free. What else? Things I'm doing to clean my studio. I don't know, not enough, basically, but I'm working on it. This week's sale at $5 a yard, we have the last of my Stag and Thistle fabric line. It's Brett Lewis. I forget what his company's called. He's a great designer, Natural Born Quilter. And I have yardage left of 3 different fabrics. I have this green, I have this hot pink, and I have this purple, which this purple, I haven't been putting this out there trying to get people to buy it because I keep thinking I'm going to make a dress out of it because it is just stunning. But life is happening and it hasn't happened. So if you are interested, the top comment, the first comment on this is the link to the sale fabrics, and they are $5 a yard, must buy whole yard increments. And it's first come, first served. When it's gone, it's gone. Last week I had charm squares and they sold out. So thank you for that. And we'll see what will come up next. I'm just going to keep doing this until the studio looks like I could invite people in. Like, I want to have people over, but I've got to put a curtain over the windows in that door because the bathroom's next door. And if a guest needs to use my bathroom, they'd get to see in here, and we can't have that. It's pretty bad. Let's see. Angie, you love your Stitch 210 and you do yearn for the 610. My Stitch 610 is sitting, the 210 is sitting right behind me. That's where I keep my little travel machine. The Stitch 610, definitely wonderful. I think there's a 310 that I'm looking at right now. Does anyone have that problem with collecting machines? So I did the sale. I did the cleaning. I told you before I was doing a lot of bicycle riding, and now I'm not. I pulled a hamstring. I feel like such a jock. I'm usually down from, this disease act up or the heart failure or, all of the different major issues that have been going on. I pulled a muscle. So I'm not bicycling right now. I'm going to let it rest for a little while so I can walk. I did climb up on the chair I'm sitting on right now to hang this quilt, and the screaming, the muscle was screaming, which made me scream as well as I climbed up that high, trying to bend and straighten the leg at that angle. So it's minor and it's adorable. I feel like such a jock. I'm like, oh my word, I pulled a hamstring. I'm a jock. So yeah, not biking right now, but I can't wait to get back to it. Next week. Let's see. We have Annette. You own 14 machines and most are vintage. That's cool. I have 3 vintage machines, and then I have 1, 2, 3 non-vintage machines, and then I have 2 long arms. So 3, 6, 8. 8 machines plus the one I just stopped using. So 9. Okay, I have a Hello Kitty machine, which is 10, and then I have 2 sergers, which is 12. What did I forget? There may be more. So yeah, I'm kind of up there. Let's see. We have 610 I got with the Moxie, and it is migrated to my son's studio. Very nice. It's a really nice machine. I can see that being a machine that lasts years. I'm really enjoying working with it, and it's just the funny thing about it is my eyesight is terrible. I need to have cataracts removed, and they can't correct my vision with glasses to the point that I'd like it to be corrected. They said, yeah, we know you can't see, but your cataracts aren't ready to come out. I'm ready for my cataracts to come out because I can't see. So working with my new machine, I don't know if I told you this, but my husband came in the night I set it up, and he was standing there with my with the owner's manual, which I kept picking up the wrong one. We started reading and it was in French, and then I picked up the next one. It was Spanish, and we finally found the English one. And it's a needle threader that I haven't seen before. Like, I haven't used it before, and I was having trouble with it. So I asked my husband to come help me because he understands I can't see, and he can help me with things like that. Like, I dropped a stitch in knitting on a sock, and I'm like trying to fix it, and he was like, "Can I help?" I'm like, "I wish you could. This is a skilled problem, not a here. I just need your eyesight. I need you to have eyesight and the skill to do this." And that's picking up a garter stitch in the round. Anyway, I finally got that done. But so he was helping me with that. And fortunately, I have task lighting that are LED lights with a magnifier in it. And so I was able to pull that down and see it and then feel it. And now I am happily threading needles without having to see what I'm doing. And the first day that my husband went to work after that night, he came back and he's like, "Are you threading needles?" I'm like, "I am happily threading needles, like all willy nilly." It's great. Let's see. I know how you feel re the cataracts. Was so thankful to have mine removed earlier this year. I'm so glad that worked for you, Sandal. I'm very hopeful for it. But there are 3 things in life that are hard for me. Like, I've gone through a lot of medical stuff, and none of it has really been terribly dreadful, to me. Like, it hasn't affected my soul. Um, but messing with my eyes, my teeth, and my fingernails, those are things that make me go, "Hoo." So I'm thinking, I don't drink, but I'd be willing to before the surgery, before they put a thing in my eye. But my sister's had it done. My mother-in-law's had it done. I'm guessing I can handle it, but I'm very excited to have that done. And hopefully you're seeing as well as you'd like to right now. I do have a necklace that has a pair of eyeglasses on it that I put over these glasses to see what I'm doing. And I also use my phone and blow things up. Let's see, Janet has 8 machines, a Bernina, a Handy Quilter, a Bernina Serger, a Singer Featherweight, 2 treadles, and a Nietzsche. My cataracts were 20, and you can see, oh, I'm so excited for you. There's a treadle on Facebook Marketplace in my town right now that I'm holding myself back from buying. I would love to have a treadle. It's not like we lose power around here all the time, but we do. I would love to have one of those, but I'm trying to hold back because I have 12. I have 12 machines. And I'm so excited to get to use some of them. Let's see. Sandal, the surgery is surprisingly easy, meds to relax, and you're aware of the procedure. Oh, good, because I need those. I mean, I've had people insert like radio frequency burning tools into the nerves in my spine without any drugs of any sort, and I was fine with that. But my eyeballs, not sure I can do that one. I will do it. I will do whatever is necessary because I need to see. But yes, I'm always like this with my glasses and trying to see, get the sweetest spot in my glasses and all of that. But, that happens to all of us. And let's see what else we got. Miss Terry Lucas in the house. Hi, Terry. So happy to see you. Here, Terry and I have a surprise coming up for you later, so look for it in future newsletters. I don't have all of the information together yet, but there's a surprise coming. So we're not telling, but there's something coming up. Let's see what else is next. You feel nothing with the cataracts. That's great. Let's see. That was Janet. Hello, Janet. I have a problem with seeing nothing with the cataracts because if you bring something at my eye, I might bite you, punch your throat. I will have a strong reaction to that. So they need to chill me out before that happens. Terry will get stuff to me soonish, so we have a surprise coming out for you. What else do we have going on? Next week, I will not have a Facebook Live. I will not be in my studio next Tuesday or Wednesday. So I have a pre-recorded Facebook Live, and it is going to be on YouTube. So in your newsletter this afternoon, there's a YouTube link for a video that will premiere at 2:30 next Tuesday in New York time. I may be able to pop in, but I also may not. So I may be in the comments saying hi to you in the live comments that go on the side of the video. And then I will also put that in my Debbie Brown Quilts and the sewing and the Facebook group and things like that. So you'll know where to find that link. But the link is in the newsletter that is scheduled to start going out at 3:00 today. So you'll have the link for it, and it's a really nice quilt. And it's all the machine quilting of it, and it's a pretty intense video. It was one of the more in-depth videos I've had to edit because there were so many cuts of putting photos in and doing things. So I think you'll like it. It's a quilt my daughter won't care for. My daughter likes black, navy blue, maybe gray, and very basic. And this one might have some flowers in it. So I sent it to her and her wife as a joke. I was like, oh, another Erin quilt. And my daughter-in-law said, I need it. So it already has an owner. But I might need to make another one because it's really pretty. And I will have links to the fabric and to the panels and tell you how to make it yourself if you'd like to. Let's see. Lois saying you bought a FOF magnifier and taped them to your creative performance. Is that a sewing machine? I'm not familiar with all of that. I do have another pair of glasses that I keep in the living room for my hand sewing, and then I wear a pair of readers on top of these because I'm bringing sexy back. And when I'm teaching, I have one that I can just bring up if people say, "What does my tension look like?" I'm like, "It looks blue," but I can see tension with a magnifier I wear on a necklace. But I'm looking forward to getting that back. I've heard people talk about the colors, like seeing the difference between yellows and whites, and I don't know that I've had that problem, but it's definitely the dialing it in on seeing the little things. Hi, Sherry. I'm glad you're here. So again, I'm going to be away, which is why I won't be here for the video next week. And I'm trying to decide, should I take my sewing machine, my little stitch sewing machine, my travel machine, or should I just take my scraps and cut them up? Because then I would take a mat that I have that is a cutting mat and a pressing mat folded together. It's a Clover product from Japan, and my iron and my rotary cutter and my little Stripology ruler. That's all I would need to take with me, or I can take a project with me. I'm trying to think of how much tip I want to leave the maid for if I bring all of my scraps with me. So I'm trying to decide, what would you do? Would you bring a new quilt to make? Because I have a new cutie pattern that I need to test out. It's in my head right now, but it needs to be in the real world. Or I could sew all of these scraps, or I could just cut more because I'm almost out. And you have no idea the entirety of the mess of these 1.5-inch strips that's covering an area about 6 feet by 6 feet right here on my sewing room floor. Let's see. Terry, take your scraps and cut them up, and I can send you my scraps. No, that's a deal breaker for friendship. I'm a friends for life type of person, but no, that's a deal breaker. Nope, I have enough of my own. Thank you very much. So that is all I have for you this week. I hope you get a chance, if you want to make the I Scream quilt. And I would love to see pictures of what you're doing. Tag me anywhere at Debbie Brown Quilts on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, all of those things. Let's see. Terry, like chocolate cake is a deal breaker. Yeah. Chocolate cake is a deal breaker. And I just saw someone had an interesting comment, and it wasn't about cake. It was about something else. But they were like, if I were meant to share whatever this food is, they wouldn't give me a stabbing fork with it. And that's the way I feel like cake. So if I get a piece of cake and it comes with a fork, the fork is for stabbing whoever tries to steal it from me. And Terry might have a little scar from that at times, maybe more than one. But yeah, that's how I feel about cake. So anyway, I will be away, and I hope you are having fun quilting. I will be resting, refreshing, and doing a little sewing while I'm away as well. And sorry, Terry's hand is still recovering. You might want to cover that up with sunscreen because scars don't do well in the sun. So just be aware that you don't want to have scar tissue in the sun. It doesn't handle the sun very well. So sunscreen, some good advice from a friend. Okay, so I'm going to go and do some sewing and get some stuff ready for a more virtual videos, more virtual Facebook lives, that Facebook unlives. Is that like Facebook undeads? I'm not sure how to do this, but my plan is for the weeks that I'm available on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, and there are a couple of those coming up through the summer. I want to have another video for you to watch that week. So I want to make sure you get your Debbie content, even if I'm not available. I'm gonna go work on more of that and do something with this ginormous scrap pile here. Happy quilting, everyone. Enjoy the day, whatever that looks like. If that involves stabbing someone because they're stealing your cake, or cutting up your scraps, or sewing your scraps, or trying the staggered switchbacks from the ice cream drips. Have a great day, and I will talk to you again live at some point. I may be live on next week's video. So check your newsletter if you're interested in the sale on these fabrics. And happy quilting, everyone. I'll talk to you again. See you online.